Welcome back to Between the Arcs. I'm your host this afternoon, The Horse, and joining me fresh in the New South Wales state where it's either pissing down rain and calling off BBL or, it's probably just shit all the time near your place, isn't it, Dudley?
Yep. I just looked outside. It's pissing down rain.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Yeah. What better time to be able to record some AFL than to talk about a team that could be as equally interesting as the weather outside at your place, and that's the Port Adelaide Power.
Well, hang on. They've got some good options this year. I don't want to discredit them now. And when a team has Zach Butters available, they're always interesting because that kid is a freak.
He is, yes. But before we get into it, like, subscribe, bell, thumbs up, hype, all that sort of jazz. 5-star reviews on audio help keep the lights on here at Between the Arcs also. But the Port Adelaide Footy Club, Deadly, they finished 13th last year. Their new coach is one Josh Carr. What has he said about the game style that he wants to run?
Yeah, so he mentioned that he didn't really want to change too much from the Ken style. In the Sandfield, he's prioritised getting into the contest, winning the hard ball. Mitch Georgiades actually came out a couple days ago and said there's obviously some slight changes within the game plan and the way we want to play, but it'll look pretty similar to the way Ken was running the team structure last year. So quite good signs for some SuperCoach players.
For sure. Now, from a SuperCoach point of view, I'd say they're probably one of the easier teams to nail when we're talking SuperCoach. One, because they were the fourth lowest scoring team last year, 16.04 per game. 4 of them scoring over 100 per game. 1.7 of them averaging over 120 a game. Against, though, they were the fourth easiest team to score against. 5 opponents were getting over 100 each game on average and 1.8 getting over 120. The key question I'll ask you before we get into some players is they have a brilliant schedule. Like, it's up there with one of the best. So how many players are you looking at early to have in your side come round 0 or round 1?
I've got 3 Port Adelaide players at the moment. There's definitely room for some more if we get some more news from a few players out of there. But there's a lot of like mid-tier, just there guys for Port. But yeah, definitely a few different good guys to look at.
Our primos, our mid-rangers, and rookie-priced value players are brought to you by Stromcrete. If you're planning a new driveway, shed, slab, entertainment area, pathway, or anything concrete, get it done properly the first time with the team you can trust. Hit the link in the description below. Tell them that Between the Arcs sent you, and Stromcrete will sort you out not only with a free quote, but they'll also take 10% off your job. So regardless of whether that costs $1,000, $10,000, or $100,000, 10% off if you quote behind or Between the Arcs. Sorry. Let's get into the premios. And it's pretty easy, isn't it, when we're talking primos? Let's talk about the obvious one for me, and that's Zach Butters, 654K. He is a midfielder. He is one of the best midfielders. And when he's on, he is one of the best to watch. He's as hard as a cat's head. Sometimes, or especially early on in his career, he was probably too hard for his own good, knocking himself around and getting injured. But the last couple of years, he's been somewhat consistent when we're talking SuperCoach scoring. How do you feel Zach Butters goes this year, and are you making way to spend this much money to have him right from the start?
Yes. He's expert analysis right here in first. No, with this buy schedule and the fixture, he probably was my first pick. Actually, I have no clue who my first pick was, but I'm almost positive Zach Butters was one of the first picks. I'm locking him in, throwing away the key, sitting there the whole year before in one last season for Port Adelaide before he comes to Essendon next year.
Before he gets to Essendon, you reckon?
I could only hope. But no, is that this having him as your M1 to start the season looks perfect. And me personally, I don't like saying must start to many players, but I think Zach Butters must start.
When we're looking at a collection of high CBA premiums, and I'll give Vams his shout out from X because this is where I got that from. He is up there with the top 6 midfielders in the competition who get their SuperCoach scoring through stoppage, through transition, or whether we talk both. So he doesn't just rely on one or the other. He can get them both ways. So that is the beauty of Zach Butters, in that if he's being held at the contest, he can still get on the outside and be that link between player and get you SuperCoach points that way, which is why he is so valuable for SuperCoach. Premium number 2, it's Connor Rozee, 568K as a halfback distributor. I sold him last year about, was it a day before lockout? And then he was moved to a halfback flank and then really turned it on. So I was spewing there, but how good does he look just rebounding out of defense? And if that role is there again for Connor Rozee, he's almost as much of a must-have as what Zach Butters is.
If not more. Josh Carr's already had this discussion that he wants to keep Connor Rozee back as a halfback distributor. So you'd expect that role to continue, which just instantly makes him a top 6 defender. There's also plenty of rumors flying around that Miles Bergman's going to stay in the midfield, which means it's certainly going to increase the probability that Connor stays down behind the ball. He's another one. Must start, simply enough.
Must start. Yeah. Let's just leave it at that. Our mid-priced options, there's a couple of mid-prices who have shown some real ceiling type scoring last year. The first one I'm going to talk about is a man you just mentioned. That's Miles Bergman. We saw what the Bergman man could do when he was playing through the midfield last year. 5 out of 6 games scoring in the hundreds. He can play a defensive role there as well and rack up tackles, so he can score in a multitude of ways. The thing is here with Bergman is that you're picking him up at a price where you believe that he can score or average you 100. Do you think that he's there yet, or is there too much or too many question marks in order for that to happen this early on, Deadly?
I think there's just too many question marks for me to take him. There definitely is merit to it, especially if he stays in that midfield rotation. You can take him as a stepping stone. But yeah, you need 95 at least for this pick to be really good. There's just too much risk factor for me. But yeah, just we've seen these guys before who have role changes and whatnot, and they'd just be absolute busts for SuperCoach. And I'm not willing to take the risk on Bergman as much as a good player he is. But if anything changes early on and I see something different, then I'll have to rethink that.
Now, this next player, he has been SuperCoach relevant for the last couple of years, but for different reasons as to why we're going to talk about him now, and that's Jordan Sweet. He's been SuperCoach relevant because he has been as cheap as what he was, and he's been able to punch us out some really nice scores, double 100 even at one stage last year. Is this the year that Jordan Sweet arrives at the Port Adelaide, or he doesn't arrive at the Port Adelaide Footy Club because he's been there a couple of years now, but is this the year where he goes, yeah, this is me, I'm the number 1 ruck, and just punch out 110s for fun?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. There's definitely a lot of risk in this too, but it's a good strategy. If you sort of sat there waiting for these top 5 rucks to sort of figure themselves out. The main 5 rucks all over 600K. The big 3 cost over 670. So there's an argument there to start with, like a Sweet and a Draper or someone like that, and trade up once the big dogs sort themselves out, which would be effective from a dollar perspective. But it carries a bit of risk from a scoring perspective as well. So there is potential value with the new ruck rules for Sweet, but he's probably not one I'm gonna look at personally. But there definitely is merit to having a bit of a strategy look at him.
Definitely. Let's talk about a rookie option, and I really like this player. He's not a rookie because he's kicked bags of goals in the past, but there's a little bit of a whisper out this guy's going to be playing as the 3rd tall in defense, and that's Todd Marshall. And believe it or not, he's at 147K. So this is a guy who has scored multiple hundreds in the past, and knee injuries have hurt him, which is why we haven't seen much of him in the last 18 to 24 months. But if he goes behind the ball with the set of hands that he's got, and he is a nice user of the ball, we only need him to average 70 to make us bulk cash, but he's got much higher than 70 type ceiling.
Yeah, 100%. If he goes behind the ball, he probably will be in all of our teams. Just rookie priced, but experienced with a new role that has more scoring potential than what he does at forward. If he does stay forward, I don't like him at all. I'm just completely ignoring him. But if he's behind the ball, he's an on-field pick early rounds.
For sure. Now let's talk about perhaps the one who's been getting the most amount of attention when we're talking Port Adelaide rookies this preseason. And he's not a rookie. He's just coming in at a rookie price of 119.9K, and that's Will Brodie. We've seen that he, in the past, has been priced at over 500K. So he's got upside of being able to average 100, but he just hasn't had the opportunity to be able to do that, especially at Freo with the likes of Sarong and Brayshaw and Johnson and Fife, and the list goes on. He now moves to a Port Adelaide Footy Club where he's now going to be battling it out with the likes of Willem Drew, Ollie Wines, Zach Butters, these sorts of players, Bergman as well. Pickles, for those who don't know who Pickles is, Jason Horne-Francis. How likely is it that Will Brodie starts in the midfield for the Port Adelaide Footy Club come round one?
It seems a bit too good to be true to me. Obviously, I reckon his best days are very far behind him now. Like we've seen the movie before, as you said, 500K to start at some stage there. Then he came back a couple of years later, was a bit bad, to be honest. And I'm not sure that will change too much. He did play his best footy under Josh Carr, though. So there's always an eye on him if that's the case. And if he is in the starting midfield rotation, you probably just got to pick him. But I think there is too many risk factors there. Right now, he's not on my team, but unless we hear word out of Port Adelaide, that will change pretty quickly.
For sure. Let's talk about players to fade. And for those that are fans of Between the Arcs, not inside AFL anymore, but Pickles, Jason Horne-Francis, 511K. He doesn't have the DPP anymore. He's just a mid. And I just don't like it.
No, I'm with you. He's pretty buff, though. Shout out Brodie for that. No, but Pickles, we sort of had to include him, didn't we? Just as one of the cult heroes of the Insight world. But yeah, losing the forward DPP, third option in the midfield. He spent too much time forward last year for it to be worth it at this price. And it's a bit of a weird one that he lost the forward DPP. I would have thought he would have had enough to keep it, but even still, 5'11", he's not going to score well enough to be top 8 or well enough to be any value to us, so it's pretty easy fade.
Yeah, and for me, Kane Farrell is much the same. We saw that he got a bit of it last year before Connor Rozee was moved back, and then those scores fluctuated too much. So at Kane Farrell's price, we are not interested at all. Deadly, the 4 questions are coming your way thick and fast right now. For those of you watching at home, please comment down below if you think there are other players that we do need to consider here or whether there's others that we've missed. And that is your best pick from this team, your best value play, your best rookie price play, but also your hardest fade. And go.
Best pick, Zach Butters, or kind of just take them both realistically, but Zach Butters will be your best pick from this team. There's no doubt in Zach's ability. Best value play for me, if Bergman can show some consistency, it's probably going to be him. There's not too many other mid-priced options screaming for to be picked, but Sweet as a bit of an option could be a good one. Best rookie, and this bloke's far from a rookie, but if Todd Marshall's behind the ball as the third tall, 100% he's the best rookie priced option. And hard fade, pretty easily, Pickles.
Easily?
Not even looking at him.
Wow. Okay. There's also a young lad by the name of McKinley from the Port Adelaide Footy Club that I want people to keep an eye on as well. Rumoured to be in for a role change across halfback and nice and cheap. So if that does pop up, then I really like his outlook, I guess, and his SuperCoach scoring ability as well. Deadly. They've got an awesome buy schedule. They've got a pretty friendly schedule when we're talking teams they're playing early on as well. Is the value play to load up on Port Primos, or are you restricting yourself or, not getting too far ahead of yourself by picking too many Port players?
Yeah, I mean, there obviously you got to draw a bit of a fine line at some point. But taking Butters and Rozee just looks so obvious that I think most people probably should. It's going to be an interesting watch with a few of the young guys. I'm not really too interested in many actual rookies like Josh Lai, Tom Cochrane, who's now injured, Jack Whitlock, Ewan McKinley, as you mentioned. They've all shown a bit at times last year, but I'm not too interested in Port rookies until Dougie Cochrane comes into the game next year. But Yeah, right now it's just Butters and Rozee and potentially Marshall that are the main guys for me.
For sure. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're hearing here, that thumbs up, we would appreciate that. 5-star reviews help us out audio. If you're listening to us on audio, but that is the Port Adelaide Football Club today. What team's next? Is it the Aints?
No, I believe next is the Richmond Footy Club.
The Richmond Footy Club. Can't wait to hear what Pistol's got to say about this. But anyway, it's been Port. It's been real. Deadly and I signing off. We'll catch you next episode. Peace.